afternoon, everyone. How are you guys doing? Holy cow. Oh wow. I got countdowns on a whole bunch of screens. Let's pull it back up. There we go. Let's fix that. Good afternoon. Welcome to the market close. This is going to be a fun one. We got a weekend in front of us, so that is always a good thing. But of course, as the sign behind me predicts, we got a red market. So pretty red day. People going a little bit crazy here in Canada. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things as we move along. And let me just just adjust that camera a tiny bit. There we go. Okay. And I can see already you guys are already in the chat, having fun, talking away. Fantastic. Let's start as we normally do by taking a quick look at the markets. We'll see where they are. We still have 14 minutes until the bell, but before I do that, I'll just do that so that we don't open up to an infinite singularity of me. Okay. So looking at the market, we get the TSX deep in the red. They're down almost a full percent, basically negative 0.94%. S&P 500, they were green for a good part of the day, but as we're heading into the final, they have slipped into the red. They're down negative, so they're down 0.09%. NASDAQ down 0.05%. Of course, Monday being the day that NVIDIA opens up after the split. So that will be an interesting situation to take a look. And we'll look at NVIDIA's price as well as we move towards the close. I know that at least one person in here has predicted 1300 today by close. So we're going to see if that happens. We will see if that happens. I don't think we're there yet. I'll just slide down here. No, we're sitting at 1209 right now. So unless we get a whole slew of buying in the last 15 minutes, it doesn't look like we're going to hit that 1300. But 1200 is pretty fantastic. That is really really good. So I'm thinking that's good. So the NASDAQ down, gold is down, silver's down quite a bit, 6.79%. WTI is down. And it's interesting because even though OPEC came out and said, all right, we're gonna maintain our reductions, we're gonna get that price of oil back up. The problem is a lot of the oil pumping going on in the States, they've been pumping out record amounts of oil. That's kind of sort of offsetting what's happening with OPEC. So that what can you do? And Bitcoin is down. And as you can see, here's the chart. Bitcoin had a pretty darn red day. I mean, look at this. That's quite a drop. It's sort of like it's almost like they want to be down in the 68s on the weekend. So it's like, yeah, we'll put in some effort during the week, but it's the weekend. We're heading down. Now, the interesting thing though is right now the actual supply of Bitcoin on exchanges and things it's really low. So a lot of people are kind of shocked that Bitcoin hasn't already started to go parabolic. So we'll have to see. We'll have to watch Bitcoin in the future. I think it's going to be really interesting because we haven't seen, some of the things that a lot of people have been predicting after the halving. We haven't seen it yet. And normally you don't. Normally it does, normally there's a lag. And we're in that lag right now. So before we sort of settle and see where Bitcoin is going to go. All right, let's look at the heat map. And here is Canada. Holy cow. We're talking a lot of red. We are definitely talking a lot of red here. Yeah, look at this. Most of the banks, well, TD, I'm surprised. TD being up 0.1. One of the reasons I'm surprised is there's new news about TD. The whole money laundering thing has gotten worse. As an employee of theirs in Florida, an employee that's, in all fairness to TD, they did get rid of this person. But it turns out that they were accepting $200 bribes to help money launderers move money to Colombia. So that's not looking good for TD. Before we thought that they might be facing $3 billion in fines. Well, it could get up to $4 billion. It could get there. We're not sure if it will, but it could. So that's going to be really, really, really interesting. C&Q, look at that, a little bit of a retracement for anybody who's looking for a good place to get in on C&Q. Take advantage of these. Take advantage because C&Q has been doing really well all year. Okay. Shopify is doing okay. They're coming up. Both the railroads have retraced a little bit. The non-energy minerals. Look at this. Let's pull up this site. Whoops, I didn't mean to pull up Canco. I actually meant to pull up the whole section. There we go. Yeah, look at this. This is just a section. This is just, what's the word for it? They've just being hit hard today. Everything from, here's Barrick Gold down 6.08%. Franco Nevada negative 4.52%. So yeah, not a fun day in your non-energy mineral sector. So that's what I love about these heat maps is I got so much diversity that I can go into here. But Nutrien, they're down 1.21%. That's not too shabby though. But everyone's favorite Alimentation Couche-Tard, they're up 0.11%. Dollarama's up 0.05%. And Dollarama has their earnings coming out next week. So that's something to look forward to. I have a feeling that it may not be that shabby. I have a feeling. All right. And we have our ETF heat map. Not a lot that we can really pull out of this at this point, other than, VFV still chugging along, still in the positives. So not too shabby, not too shabby. Now, I have a feeling, though. Watch. I bet you if I remove all of the negatives, I bet you we're going to start seeing some of these inverse ones, like HNU. Let's see. I think HNU, is that an inverse oil? Let me pull it up and see here. Yeah, here we go. Oh, it's natural gas. So this is the natural gas. Oh, this is actually the bull. Oh, very interesting. Okay, I was almost expecting to see basically an inverse. This is not an inverse. It's a bull. Their inverse would be bear. But I am expecting to see some bears in here. So let's see what else we have here. There's HUN. So let's see here. Global X Natural Gas ETF. Oh, okay. So natural gas seems to have had a half decent day. I'm not seeing anything in here. Let's get rid of the 2%ers and let's go really, really high up here. No, I'm seeing a lot of the Global X, but I'm not seeing a lot of those inverse, which is interesting because let me just go back here. Boop, boop. Let's bring everybody back here again. All right. Yeah, they're just not there. I'm okay with that then. All right. So let's switch over to crypto. Oh, that's not crypto, is it? No, that's the American. I forgot we hadn't done the American yet. You can tell it's a Friday. It's a Friday. Tomorrow's my day off, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's see here. Yeah, Apple's doing okay. Well, people are excited because of the WWDC on Monday. That's when we're going to find out the AI plans for Apple, what they're going to do, how they're going to set it up. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a very interesting day for sure. So Apple doing okay. Oracle's up 1.62%. So it's not too shabby there in some places, but there's still a good amount of red. United Health down 2.10. So yeah, a little bit of red, All right, oh gosh, I'm afraid to look at this, but we're gonna look. It's crypto. Holy banana bread. Look at this red. Look at it. Bitcoin's down 2.11%. Ethereum 3.32%. Solana's down 4.85%. Oh, wow. And then, we can just go in and find some random coin that I've never heard of, like this one, DYDX. I don't know what this is, but they're down. So I'm glad I don't have it. So anyway, I don't know why I like doing that, just picking a random weird coin. Probably because there's 14,000 of them. I could probably do this every single market close and never have to pick the same coin twice. So that's kind of funny. All right. Holy cow. Look at that. All right. It's time to hit the chat. So let's go back to Big Me. And let's get caught up with you guys here. Holy cow, look at this. Marco's first, hyped. Let's do this. Let's go. And we got a little Pride Unicorn Rainbow. Cool. Stan says, happy Friday, all. Vanessa says, anyone here of DeFi technologies? Wondering if I should place a small position. I've heard of them. I heard of them. I haven't really looked at them a lot, but I have heard of them. I would say definitely do your due diligence on it before you jump in. And the small position is always a good way. Sometimes that's a good way to start. Like if you have a new stock that you've never really worked with before, you can go with a, oh, I got a scam alert. Scam alert. Scam alert. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. Let me show you. Boom. Scam alert popped up all of a sudden out of nowhere, a Rogers page. And it's like, congratulations, you are one of 100 users who've been selected as part of our reward program. You can, oh, it disappeared. Anyway, it's a scam. It is a scam, big time scam. If you ever get something like this that just pops up a page claiming to be Rogers or whoever, in this case here, what the scammer's doing is they can, through the code on their system, basically within the HTML, they can get back the information as to who my provider is. Hence, they pretend to be Rogers. This is the second time I've actually seen this where it's popped up. But if you see this, folks, do not fall for it. No falling for scams. All right. All right. I'll get rid of that scam. That's just popped up in the middle of the stream. I'm like, okay. Very, very cool. 9 says, banana bread. No, it's not a holy banana bread. It's an unholy banana bread. I see them little devils there. Holy cow. Lazar says, job report, full-time, 625K part-time, plus 286K native born. So yeah, their jobs reports came out today, and that's one of the reasons for the red. So in Canada, our job reports, they were worse than last month, and that's what we wanted to see. So they were pretty much in line with expectations. But the US, they had a hot jobs report that came out. They had expected about 180,000 jobs. Well, they got a lot more. They got more than 200,000. Was it 267? Somewhere's up in that area. They got a lot of jobs. They were mostly it's that thing. The problem is that the Fed, so the Federal Reserve down in the States, when they're looking at these rate cuts, they're looking at these jobs reports and they're not liking it. They're like, this economy is way too hot. We're not going to get inflation under control if we don't get some of these economic indicators coming down. And one of them is the jobs. They need that jobs number to start coming down. So it kind of puts a damper. It puts a little bit of a damper on any chance of a surprise early rate cut for the U.S. So it's they're going to be holding out. Now, why, of course, did it really tank Canada? Well, because there's a lot of people that are like, okay, we got our first rate cut. We want more. But if we get more, is it going to tank the Canadian dollar? Because the U.S., are we getting too far outside of the lane that the U.S. is in? So that's kind of that whole issue. And people are looking at that. So when we get bad news in the US towards inflation, we kind of start panicking a little bit up here. So it's kind of one of those things. I don't know if you guys just heard, the kitten just came in, meowed at my foot a couple of times. But that's what we're looking at. We're looking at some really interesting stuff. I've got to pay attention here. I've only got a minute before the bell. It's just that whole thing. It's that whole issue with the jobs, the economy just being way too strong. So, Papa Pal's not going to like the numbers that came out today for sure. Now, next week, they do have a CPI coming out. So let's hope we get some positive news in this one. If we don't, oh boy, it'll be very interesting indeed. All right. JJ is in the house with a hey, banana bread people, banana bread folks, banana bread heads, something like that. I'm just trying to interpret emoticons. Let's see. If anyone thinks that's a good job report, it's awful. Yeah, that's what we're saying. We're saying that this job report, especially the US one, it's just absolutely terrible. Now, even with the Canadian one, if you look at the jobs that we had that came up in Canada, most of them were part-time. And not only that, they're almost all in Ontario. So It's not like our job, our economy right now is suffering. So our GDP is being, it's lowering. Um, it's getting worse, but that's one of the reasons I think that the Bank of Canada said, well, we got to start the rate cut, the rate cut cycle. That's the word. We got to start it. We have to start moving in that direction. They do have a buffer. Like they don't have to be at the exact same place that the US is. We can move quite a bit before it will really impact the dollar big time. Um, and they're probably going to use that buffer if things don't get worse. Because the problem is, and I guess this is part of it in the States. So when they had the low rates during the pandemic, all the people who went out and bought houses, and I've heard that, I heard it referenced on the news the other day. They were calling it, it was Christmas for real estate because more people bought houses than ever before. And that happened in the US as well. But the thing is, in the US, they have longer mortgages. So when you were at that rock bottom pandemic mortgage, there were people there locking in things for 20, 30 years. I think 30 is the maximum, depending on where you are in the States. Here, we couldn't do that. We were looking at, 4, maybe 5 years max. So we get a lot of people now who are coming up, like especially people who bought houses in 2020 or 2021. So we got 2024, we're starting to see a little bit of it. 2025 is when we're going to see a big wave, a big tsunami of all of these renewals. And that's going to be interesting. And it is bell time. Oh my God, it's past bell time. All right, we got it. I got off on a little bit of a real estate rant. It's like, woohoo, let's continue the real estate. Oh, I should have my head big again. So yeah, it is going to be very, very, very interesting. We'll talk a little bit more about we're going to talk, yeah, oh gosh. I want to talk even more about real estate. It's kind of interesting. So one of the issues that some people have is that some people put themselves on a variable mortgage during the pandemic, but there are variable mortgages that have fixed payment, right? So what that means is even though it's a variable mortgage, you still pay the same amount. But how they do that is that as the interest rates go up, you're still paying the same amount, but less of what you're paying is actually going to pay off your equity, so pay off the house, and more of what you're paying is going to interest. So as those rates got up, you've got people who are on variable fixed, and they're at the point right now where basically almost everything, like maybe $50 or $100 of what they're paying on their mortgage is actually going towards the principal. Everything else is pure interest. Now, what happens with these guys is when their renewal comes up, they can't have that great deal that they had. So for them, it's going to be a major shock. So all of a sudden, and even if we have a couple of rate cuts before that happens, it's still going to be quite a jump. In some cases, like somebody may be paying, let's say your mortgage was $2,500. On the other side of it, you could end up paying a mortgage 37 or even higher. So it's going to be pretty rough on a lot of people when this happens. Now, that's one of the reasons that the banks have been really working on the loan loss provisioning, why they've been putting more and more money in there, because people who can't afford these houses, people who can't afford to make that jump from, let's say, 25 to 37, those are the people who are going to unfortunately default. And that's where, you begin that process that can lead you to having your house taken, like so foreclosure. Now I think the banks are going to do everything they can to try to prevent that. So even if it means stretching out your amortization as much as they can, but even then, if they really stretch out your amortization, that's fine. But the next time your mortgage comes up for renewal in 5 years or however long your next period is, that all snaps back and you got to redo it all over again. There could be a big shock at that point as well. So it's going to be interesting. Anyway, let's get back to chat here, because I know I'm probably falling really far behind, but you know what? We'll finish the chat. If the chat keeps going, we keep going. It doesn't matter. Al Bundy is in the house. Monday is also when Apple releases its AI plans. It's going to skyrocket. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. So, one of the things that I've heard about Apple and what they're trying to do is they actually want a large language model that can actually sit on your phone. So if you're not connected to the internet, for example, you can still use it. You know, whether it's whether they're going to call it like Siri Pro or Siri Plus. Now, the other interesting thing too with Apple is that some of the functionality on some of the AI that they're rumored to be presenting at the WWDC will only work on the latest brands or on the next, actually on the next iteration of iPhone. So I think it's 18 or what, I don't know what number it is. Somebody correct me. I know I'm still sitting on an 11, so but it works fine. So I want a new one, but I can't justify it yet. Um, so yeah, the new one is going to be just absolutely crazy. So, we'll definitely be talking about some of these changes that are coming out. It's just going to be absolutely fantastic. Oh, and I haven't had a drink of coffee yet. So, woohoo, hello Starbucks. Mm. Oh, that's so good. Ah, whew, all right. We have Enid in the house. Hello, Enid. Hopefully your meeting went okay. Let's see. M. Gerd, M. Gerard. PayPal is on my watch list. Big investor, bought a lot of shares. Interesting, interesting. I've never really invested in PayPal, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I haven't even looked at them actually. Let's take a look at PayPal. We're here. We got lots of time. Um, all right, let me go over. That's our Discord. Here's where I want to go. Oh, a funny story. I was using my screener because when I was looking for some stocks for the 0 to 100K challenge in the US, I ran my screener and I found some of the best stocks according to what I was looking for. One of them turned out to be Bird Construction. I was like, oh, look, it's the US version of Bird Construction. So I thought that was really, really funny. All right, so we're looking at PayPal. All right, here it is. PayPal Holdings. Let's take a look and see how they've been doing. All right, here we go. So yeah, look at this. At one point, they were all the way up there at 295, but we had a bear market. They are down, so 67 right now. If we try to narrow this down just so we can see some of the more variability, we can see since about here, they have been slowly back on the rebound. So that could definitely be interesting. Definitely interesting. It's one of these ones that I like them, but at the same time, I'm a little bit cautious only because I always wonder if, with some of the newer payment options, for example, people starting to make payments with crypto and things like that, whether that's going to hurt them. But PayPal did do the right thing, and I believe they've enabled a lot of crypto payments through PayPal as well. So that could definitely be a good thing. If PayPal, now here's the thing, if PayPal is willing to adapt, I think they can definitely do good. So I think in that case, you could be onto something. Let's see here. Al Bundy says, whoa, TD employee broke the law and crumpled the company for only $200 bribes. Yes, that's Florida for you. That is Florida for you. We were talking about that earlier. And that's going to cost TD a bit more money. That's going to cost them, that potentially could cost them additional $1 billion in fines. So I know they've gotten rid of that employee, but still. And plus, and here's another thing too. You'll find out about this on This Week. There's actually a class action lawsuit up in Ontario against TD over this, over basically the whole money laundering thing. So that's just kind of interesting. Prairie's in the house with a happy Friday, everybody. We got Vineet with a hi all. We got Ernie with a hi, Candace. Jonathan, I made it to the pre-bell again. The week can't close without Candace. There we go. There we go. But how are wormholes and singularity coins doing? Yeah, it's like I imagine they're not doing very well. They probably are like the name suggests. Any money you throw into a singularity collapses it on itself until you have less. Or it may be heavier, but it's still less. Prairie says, woohoo, Managed to add an additional 5 shares of CNR. Nice. Below my ACB in the last 10 minutes of the trading day. Very cool. Very cool. And yes, I know. Oh, we're still in the thing here, but let's go back here. We didn't really do our final little look. So final look of the day. Everything's still in the red, but look at this. A full 1% down for the TSX. The S&P 500, NASDAQ, pretty, I would call them almost flat. NASDAQ was down 0.11. But look at this. Gold had a rough day. Silver had a really rough day. Oil, a little bit of a rough day. And of course, crypto had a rough day. All right. The final heat map here. And here we go. CNR. This is what you were mentioning. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that, but let's pull it up here. So there's that little drop. That little drop right there. So yeah, down to 170. Now, I think my entry point on CNR in the challenge is like 150 something. So yeah, but that's a little bit of a drop, for sure. All right. We won't talk too much more about the ETF. I do love that ETF map. But once again, here we go. Let's go into the US. And here's Apple, as we were mentioning, WWDC on Monday, finding out their AI plans. So that's not too shabby. But look at this. NVIDIA actually finished down negative 0.09% on the day. So let's see what happens on Monday with them, because, you know, they're going to be coming in at 120 something. So around $120 a share. So that will be interesting. All right. And then, yeah, the cryptocurrency, once again, pretty darn red. There is a green right there. What is that? Brett. Oh, we've seen Brett before. I remember somebody mentioned they liked it because they liked the name Brett. There we go. Yeah. All right. Let's get back to the chat. Let's see. Erno says, I don't know why, but I don't trust crypto. Crypto is one of those things where it's easy to not trust it. And I'll tell you why. Part of it is that you have the coins at the top. So you have the good coins. You have the coins that tend to be a little bit more reliable. So you got your Bitcoin, you got your Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, some of these coins. But then you have so many absolute poop coins. I'll call it that. A lot of people usually refer to it with a word that starts with S, but I'm not going to say it. So we do have those coins. And then we've got absolute scam coins. Like if you remember back in the pandemic when Squid Game was really huge, someone came up with a squid coin. And people were just piling money into the squid coin. And it went up in price. It was amazing. But then somebody actually tried to say, oh, look at all the money I made. I'm going to pull some out. And they found out they couldn't. Well, it turned out that the squid coin was an absolute scam. It was what they call it a rug pull. So, you know, you're all happy, you're dancing and thinking about the money you made, and then they pull the rug out from underneath you and you conk your head on the floor. That type of thing. So, yeah, it's very easy to not trust crypto. And then when you look at the crypto that that is more reliable, so let's say Bitcoin, you've got major volatility spikes, and that can be scary in an investment. So if you go into something like crypto with your eyes wide open, you avoid these meme coins. You avoid all these rug pulls. You avoid things like Singularity and Squid, and I would even say WorldCoin. I know that that's related to Sam Altman, but that one to me sounds a little hokey. You know, a coin used that where you scan your eyes with it. No, it sounds pretty hokey. But if you stay with the ones that are tried and true, and you prepare yourself for volatility, so you're prepared. So, for example, with Bitcoin, if you know this type of thing is going to happen, because it always does, and you just say, oh yeah, well, next week, after the weekend, it'll probably back up here again, and you'll be like, oh yeah, everything's back to normal. So it's not that shabby. It's not that shabby that way, but you have to be prepared. If you're that type of person that when this is happening, you're like, oh dear God, we're going to zero. I got to sell everything. Well, you're creating losses then. Well, maybe not. I mean, if you bought it really low and then it came up and then you panicked before you got there, you probably still made profits. But that's the whole thing. With crypto, you kind of have to come in with that mindset. Now, what I say is if you want exposure to crypto, but you're like, I'm nervous as hell with crypto, then maybe look at the ETFs. Look at ETFs. I think they'll feel a little safer when you're looking at them, and you're not thinking about custody, and you're not thinking about hardware wallets and keys and all of that stuff. So just something to keep in mind. All right. Trevor, just in time for the bell. Yeah, you had extra minute. I was late by a whole minute today. I feel bad. But it's all because of mortgages. Jersky is in the house. I just done watching your bank report video. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Jersky. Andy's in the house. Hi, all. Hello, Andy. Good to see you. Mary's in the house. Everyone hit the like button. Hit the like button. Yeah, hit it. Hit it as hard as you can. Turn it blue. Send it out. You know what? While you guys are hitting the like button, I'm going to have a drink of coffee. It kind of tasted blue. Some of you must have hit the like button. That's fantastic. And Al Bundy says, I guess that 0.25% drop in interest rates didn't do much. It's not going to do a lot. Let's be honest. Let's be honest about that. For one, I mean, it does take time for these type of changes to filter in through the system anyway. But that's more or less just the overall economy. Now, banks did start to cut their overnight or their prime lending rates as well. So, you're getting a little reduction, but not a lot. I think some economists were predicting that the average Canadian will probably have about $100 more a year in their wallets because of the 0.25. So what we need is more cuts for you to really notice a big difference. So yeah, it's not going to do a lot. And with in regards to the market, everybody and their dog was calling this. So the market had well in advance priced in a 25 basis point cut. So the fact that nothing happened when it happened is exactly what the market was anticipating. Now, and I mentioned this as well, I think in the last, on Wednesday I mentioned this. If all of a sudden, if last Wednesday, TIF had come out and done like a 50 basis point cut, that would have impacted the market. You would have had a very big green day because of that, because the market would only have priced in half of it. But, because what happened was as expected, because normally, and this is the way it works with the market, and this even goes with earnings reports. So let's say a company does really well, but, and here's the big but, they were anticipated. So we had expectations that they were going to do really well, and they only did as well as we had expected. That's technically is not going to move the needle much to the upside. But if they do much better than we expect them to do, so we think they're going to do well, but they completely slam it, well, then all of a sudden, that's where you get these giant green candles after an earnings report, because they completely outdid what we did. So kind of good. Here we go. Al Bundy was saying 272,000. There we go. That was the number for the U.S. jobs. Elizar says, what's your thoughts on B2 Gold's private placement in Versamount royalties for 33% with EQX? B2 Gold. I know I did a recent deep dive on them. Now, B2 Gold is one of these companies that I've never really invested in them. And, for good reason. They haven't done that well. But, and here's the big but, they're at a position right now where things are really starting to turn around for them. They are looking to open up another mine. They're going to solve a lot of their production problems, and their production of gold is going to, it is going to increase. And if gold continues to do well through this year with that added production, B2 Gold is not a bad play. So, in that case, I think it's a good play. I think it's a good play for Versamount royalties. For sure. Al Bundy says unemployment rose to 4%, though, in the U.S. Yes, it went from 3.9 to 4%. So there's a little bit more unemployment. That's, if anything, that's the one little positive thing that Papa Powell will look at and say, well, at least I got that. But he's not going to be happy with those numbers for sure. Vanessa says, thank you, Candace. I wonder if you know how appropriate your videos are for us all levels. You're adding to the world by helping us learn markets, perspectives, and making smarter moves. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I do my best. It's kind of that thing. Like I try to always keep in mind, because I actually had somebody once, they replied to me once on a video. They said, you know what? You come off like a teacher. You know, I'm a smart person. I don't need a teacher. I just need someone to give me the information. I just replied that I think I replied to him. I said, unfortunately, you're not the only person who's watching these videos. Some people want a teacher, and that's just my personality. I tend to, I tend to make things simple, and I try to get things across. So it was always anyway. For some reason, that comment reminded me of that. I thought that was kind of funny. Yes, ding, ding, ding. Oh gosh. Yeah, I can't believe I was 1 minute late. 9. Ooh, my massive QQQ, my QQQ, QQCC position is now $5.32. Holy banana bread. That's fantastic. Now, this is great. This is great. Let's see if you can actually grow it into your largest position, in like 10 years or something with this little, with your penny strategy here. This is great. I love it. Wait a minute. That's the exact same thing, Vanessa. You felt it so much you wanted to say it twice. I get it. I get it. JJ says, added some more QQQY yesterday before today's slight rally. Okay, not too shabby. Mario says, good afternoon. I like the new sign. Absolutely. Yeah, I love the sign. The sign's kind of cool. Now, Jill is saying that I should redo the wall. Like, get rid of the, I don't know if she wants me to get rid of both the red and the black, but I think she wants me to just go with the white and the off-white across the wall. So that way the colors on the sign stand out better. So I'll probably end up doing it eventually. So we'll have to see, but it'll look interesting. It'll look interesting. Vanessa says, everyone hit the like button. Absolutely. Yeah, slam that good old like button, folks. GID says, do you use stop losses on all your stocks, like 5% or only for your BTCC swing trade? So I'm not using stop losses on anything right now. Everything in the challenge does not have a stop loss on it. I have a lot of faith in the stocks that I have picked in the challenge. So I'm not going to set up that, but I will use it. I will use a stop loss on, funny enough, I'll tell you where I use it the most. The most I use it is when I'm actually swinging a stock and it's going up like a lot. I will then usually jump in and lock in my profits with a stop loss. But here's this funny thing. Let's, all right. I'm going to pull this up here for you. I'm going to show you something here. All right. We get the whiteboard. Hello. Where is let's scroll away from that. All right. So sometimes you'll have 3 different prices. So the price on a stock, let's say, for example, it's a stock that's moving up. Let's say it's $12.50. So that's the listed price. Okay. So with the stop loss, we may have, I'm going to put down here, I'll put here our buy, bid, we'll call bid ask. Bid ask. So the bid ask on this, let's say, for example, it is 1245 / and we'll go with 1249. All right. So even though it's listed at 1250, it might be showing this. And a lot of times, if this is completely underneath this price, it usually means that there's a little bit of a downward momentum. However, in this case here, what can sometimes happen is, let's say, and I probably should have actually used something higher. Actually, give me a second here. We're going to change this because, yeah, what I wanted to demonstrate, I need this price to kind of be a little bit lower. I'll just get rid of the whole thing. There we go. All right, let's say in this case here, its price is listed at 12. No, that's fine. I'll leave it at 49. We'll leave it at 49. We'll just say it's doing this, okay? So I'm looking at this. So what this means is when I look at the bid ask, it means right now, if I buy it, I'm paying $12.49. But if I sell it, I'm only getting $12.45. So now if I come in and put in a stop loss, let's do a stop loss. All right, I'm going to be asked 2 things. it's going to want a trigger price. Oops. This thing is, it's one thing I don't like. I don't like the way the numbers work here. It's going to look for a trigger. So the trigger is when it will start. So let's say, for example, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, well, this has been moving up. So I want to set a trigger, because if it starts to fall down, I don't want to lose money. I want to stay in profit. So I set my trigger at 1244. Let's just say that's where my trigger is. All right. And then I will also have kind of like you'll also put like a sort of a range price in here as well. So I'm going to just put a dash in here just to sort of show where that would be. And I'll put in 12. Let's say I give myself 42. So that extra little thing that we have in here, and give me a second here. I'm going to pull something else up here for you guys. I'll actually show you what that looks like. All right. Let's go to, actually, a time period. I have to just log in. So give me 1 second here. Come on. There we go. Perfect. And I'll go right down into our challenge. So here we go. All right. So we'll do it here on the challenge. So if I look at this one, so let's say, for example, I was following Drax up. So when I go to do my sell, I can put in, and we'll drop this right here, a stop loss right here. So you've got your trigger price, and then you got a limit price. So that second price is your limit price. So what that means is that if I put in a stop loss, if it falls, sometimes it can fall really fast, right? And it might fall through 1244 before I finish selling it. So what that means is if it falls through this and it hasn't sold all of my shares, and that's where volume can sometimes come in. That's why you kind of want to have stocks with higher volume when you're swinging. So if it falls through that, once it's fallen below 1242, if I still have shares left, it's not going to sell it. So with this DRX, let's just use this one. It's probably easier. So as you can see right now, we have 5 shares of this. So let's say I put in a stop loss. So we'll say it's still moving up right now, and it's at 868. So I could put in a trigger price of, let's say I put in 866. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll give it 2. So 864 in this case here. So what that means is when this is falling, if it gets to 866, it will start selling. So let's say there just wasn't a lot of volume, so I could only sell at let's say at 866, I only sold 1. Then it falls to 865, it's still in there, I only sold 1. Then it falls to 864, and let's say I only sold 1. So that means I only sold 3 out of the 5. So then it falls to 863, we're outside of that limit, it does not sell. So I would have 3 sold, and I would still have 2 in my in my inventory because of that. But here's the interesting thing. So when you look, so right now the bid ask on this thing here, look at this, 1672, 1692, but we're after hours, so sometimes we get some pretty wonky stuff in here. 1679 is that top price, as I was mentioning. Here's the thing. What actually triggers this is not the bid ask. It's this price. So if it falls, but this price doesn't, it's not going to trigger. That's one of the dangers you can have. So one thing that can happen with a stop loss is, let's say this 1679 stays where it's at. This is my trigger loss. But let's say my bid ask goes down to, let's say, holy cow, is that really worth that much? Oh, I was looking, never mind. I was looking at the 868. Duh. I'm an idiot sometimes. But yeah, so what I'm saying is that it follows that price. So if you have a situation where the bid ask keeps going lower, but this stays in, so this can move down into your range. And if that bid ask is outside your range down here, it'll still sell it. It's kind of one of them weird things that you always want to sort of pay attention to what your range is. So I always say be a little careful. Normally, if you have a high volume stock, it's not an issue at all. It really boils down to, that's one of the problems when you're trying to, like if you're trying to swing a penny stock, you can get yourself into a lot of problems. So you want to always make sure that your stock is looking healthy. So anyway, that there is that's a 0 to 100K challenge in there. It's slowly starting to build up. Now, I'll show you something else. Just this is the US. These are the US ones, and you'll notice I had put a stock in there last time. I'll show you this. There's now 3 in there. So if you pause the video and look, you'll probably be able to see what the other 2 are. And I think I told the channel members one, and I added a second one as well. So, oh hell, I'll tell you guys. I'm horrible for keeping secrets. So the ones I've added is I've added Liberty Energy. So I picked up 3 shares of these. Now, what these guys do is they're in the energy sector, but they don't actually like drill, or they don't actually harvest oil, or or pump oil. But they provide the infrastructure and all of the stuff that oil fields need. So if you're fracking, these are the guys that will give you the fracking equipment. Oh, that sounded naughtier than it meant to. And then the other one is Friedman Industries. They're a steel manufacturer. So a lot of infrastructure and things like when they're being built, these guys provide a lot of the different steel for that. So definitely some really good looking stocks. So I'm definitely happy with what I'm building up on the US. And the beautiful thing with these is they all have very low yields. So if I'm putting it in a TFSA, I don't want a lot of dividends because I'm going to lose 15%. So I might as well have a lower dividends. I'm basically looking for growth primarily on the US stocks in here. Okay, let me knock that out. Let me get back to, I am so far behind. It's like, where the heck am I? I don't even know where I am. All right. Oh, I'm on GID. Where is that at? Come on, GID. I don't even know where I'm at. All right, I'm going to figure this out. Let's go back. Here we go. Oh, I'm like, what? Where am I? I'm not even on the. I was actually on the YouTube channel itself, so I was like, wait a minute, where am I? Okay, I see it. All right, we're back. Big size. All right. Vanessa says, I use TD for investments and trading. Should I move to RBC or BMO? If you're looking to move, I'll give you 2 recommendations. Wealthsimple would be one recommendation. The other, of course, is National Bank. National Bank, they both have 0 commissions. That's the reason I would recommend either of them. So if you like the safety of being in a big 6, then National Bank would probably be your best bet. But check out Wealthsimple as well. You may like them as well. If you do decide on Wealthsimple, there's a link down below. They give you $25 to sign up. They also give me $25 as well, just for what's the word? Transparency. So that's just an option for you. But look at both. Decide, and don't. And I always say this when it comes to looking at your brokers, like, sometimes you'll have a lot of the influencers or finfluencers on the YouTubes will be like, oh, this is the best one under the sun. You got to go with this one because they're getting a commission on it. I do like National Bank. I get 0 commission on that. So just if you like, and you've sort of seen a little bit of National Bank here, if you like it, absolutely jump in. It has a lot of advantages over Wealthsimple. But I do like Wealthsimple too. It is a nice. Wealthsimple has a really good experience when you're looking at it on on your tablet, for example, or on your phone. I have not tried National Bank on those, so I can't really give you an idea on those. All right. Hal Bundy says sugar coins. Oh boy. 9 says, I think brokerage accounts are covered up to $1 million if the brokerage goes under. Yeah, it really depends. Yeah, it depends, but I think so. There's a lot of different insurances. I am actually, and nine suggested this. I'm looking to do a video down the road, probably this summer, on scamming and what happens when stuff like this. So I'll probably cover that in it as well. But there's a lot of scams going on. There's a lot of people who are trying to get your money, from crypto scams to key loggers and all kinds of stuff. So I'm looking to do a video just to sort of simplify that and give you guys some strategies to protect yourselves. Because the last thing I want is I don't want any of you to come in here one day and say, Candace, they cleaned me out. I got nothing. I don't want to ever hear that. One of the nice things, though, and I'll say this right now, we talked a little bit about how much time it takes to settle things with a brokerage. At least now we still have that one day. That's a good thing, because if somebody were to manage to hack into your brokerage and try to make a whole bunch of moves, they're probably not going to be successful if you catch them. Like if you realize it's happening same day or even the next day, you probably will have just enough time to sort of save your money from ending up going to them. But that's why, I know that India was saying they wanted to sort of go to a same day thing, and that's like, oh, it's getting a little more risky. And I'm sure that the hackers love that. But we'll talk more about that when we get to that video. I'm looking forward to that. Vanessa says, "Oh, I will look. Thank you, Nine. There we go." Jonathan says, "The bread came back." I know. New phones are expensive. New phones are really expensive. Enjoy your Starbucks. Hi, gang. I'm back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Smash that like button, and as you guys do, I will have some coffee again. Oh, I love that. Okay. Let's see. Amvas says, I listened to Passive Income Talk with Purpose Manager about BTC Y ETF. Appreciate their transparency and them being the first BTC ETF. However, covered calls isn't it better for non-volatile stocks? No, actually, covered calls loves volatility because with that volatility, there's usually a lot more of a demand for somebody to buy the contracts that you're writing. So it tends to be that when you have a lot more volatility, they're able to make more money with the covered calls. So they're bringing in a lot on the premiums, and they can also usually flip the calls a lot faster. So yeah, no, volatility is pretty good for covered calls, to be honest. Mario, 0.25%, sorry, 0.25 drop in interest on nothing compared to 4 touchdowns in one game. There we go. Amvas says, Professor Candace, raising my Starbucks to you. Appreciate how you make efforts. Do help us and love that your community is friendly and make efforts to help. I hope that I could provide beneficial info one day. Before you know it, you'll be the one over there in Discord saying, I know the answer. Let me share it. Yeah, it'll happen. Can't stop, won't stop. GameStop. Actually, funny thing, GameStop has their earnings out next week as well. So them and Dollarama are the two that stick into my mind the most. GID, on Wealthsimple, I can't put a limit price lower than the trigger price, so it can blow past. Does National Bank direct brokers allow you to do that on Canadian stop losses? Yes, they do. Yeah, your limit price, you can't, you have to have it lower. I don't know if there's like an absolute limit, but you can do it. Let's see. Amvas says HMM.A has strong support, $10. Had an alert on it, but forgot, and I bought it at 10.40 plus. Wondering if I should buy more to cost average when it holds strong at $10. So HMM.A. So both of the Hammond stocks, both HMM.A, HPS.A. I am incredibly bullish on both of them. So I think right now, yeah, I think it's a pretty good, like if you're looking to DCA into them, it's not a bad place to start. These will go up. There's a big demand for both of their services. And their stocks, like I've been on the train for about a year or so. I definitely do like, sorry, this is the question, folks. I forgot to switch over. I definitely do like them. Let's see. Enid says, anyone know some good silver stocks? It's time to load up on silver, I think. If anybody has a favorite silver stock. 9 says, I like physical silver for diversifying out of stocks ETFs. And that's the thing. I know that they were saying that when it comes to the big silver increase that we've seen this year, more people have been buying physical silver than ETFs. That doesn't mean the ETFs aren't going up too, folks. It just means that more people are buying silver. So it's not a bad thing. Let's see. Mario says, I only like zero commission. Where do you buy it from? Okay. Well, there's lots of different stores. I actually did a video on precious metals. If you search on that, or I could search on it for you. Let me see here. I should stop being lazy, Candace. Find the video for her. Where's my, do I have a search function in here? I'm in my thing, so I know what I'll do. Give me a second here. I'll get this video for you. All right. I'll get it for you one way or another. Precious metals, precious metals. It wasn't that long ago. All right. They really do need to have a search function in this thing, I think. Let's see here. All right. Holy banana bread. Maybe it was longer ago than, maybe it was long, a lot longer. Oh, here we go. Physical assets. That's the one. I'm just grabbing the address for you. Shareable link. All right, here we go. There we go. So there is your address right there. All right. Al Bundy says, I don't see why one would go Wealthsimple because you can't buy US stocks unless you pay a percentage fee. That's always an issue. Now with Wealthsimple as well, if you do, if your portfolio is over 100,000, then you get the US stuff. Like you get their US account free. Now you're still paying a conversion fee though. And that's kind of one of the things. So, and I know that we were talking a little bit about the Norbit gamble. So you can do that on Quest Trade. And apparently you can also do it on National Bank. I haven't tried it yet, but that's one way that you can avoid paying some of the conversion fees. And I know as well at National Bank, if you're just doing it straight up with the conversion fees, if you, they have thresholds. So if you donate or not donate, if you move a larger amounts, you end up paying a smaller fee. All right. Mario says, Wealthsimple trade all the way. 9 says, for precious metals, I buy them at a legit currency exchange. They also sell gold. Yeah, absolutely. So that could be, there's a few of them in that video I posted. But that could be like the Canadian Mint, for example, although they may not have the best prices. Al Bundy says, I have a gold coin. Is there a way to sell it other than at a pawn shop? And do pawn shops pay you current gold values or they pay you at a much lower rate? Yeah, it depends on where you're going. If you're going to an actual metals dealer opposed to a pawn shop, you're going to get a better rate. They're not going to give you exactly what it's worth, though. They do need to make some amount of money. But that's where you have to sort of look and say, okay, well, I'm still way in profit, even though they're taking a little sliver to take it off my hands. Let's see here. Let's see, those 1K shares of NVIDIA dropped once after hours were done, went from 31 to 28.4. Now it's 28.8. Well, let's hope that pulls itself back up. All right. And oh my God, I'm caught up. I can't believe it. Earnings for HPS are June 25th. HMM earnings are on July 30th. You can see HPS.A earnings to maybe get a feel of how H&M will do. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, they're both run by the same two guys. Let's just put that out there. So they are kind of like the same company, but two separate companies, and their services complement each other. So, I don't know how HMM actually came, and I think it's probably an interesting story. But HPS.A, they were around first. They've been around the longest, and hence the reason they're worth so much more. I think in a way, and this is speculation, 100% speculation, but I think what's going on here is that HPS.A was like, well, we need infrastructure for all the stuff we're creating, and maybe they weren't happy with the service they were getting, and they're like, you know what? Let's just create we'll make our own infrastructure, and that'll be fine. So, and part of it too is they probably had a certain amount of infrastructure already within HPS.A that they were able to spin out and then beef it up on the HMM. So I think that's pretty much how it probably went. But like I said, that there is just speculation. I don't have 100% on that. Mario in here with a super chat. It's a super chat. All right. I was like, oh, is it a sticker or a chat? It's a chat. Thank you, Mario. $2 for all your good work helping us out. And of course, it's a super chat, so it's going into the 0 to 100K challenge. So that's always fantastic. And here's 9 saying massive super sticker. Holy banana bread. There we go. Fantastic. That's awesome. Always appreciative for sure. All right. Whew. Gonna grab myself a coffee here. Now, the week's round. The week is kind of turning itself down. We'll take a look at what's coming up next week. But start getting in your final questions here as we're heading. Because I'm not going to keep you here all night on a Friday. Although I will say, Wednesday stream, we went an hour and a half. I looked at it afterwards. And the funny thing is, it was so fantastic. You guys were all rocking it so much that I didn't even realize when we were at an hour and a half. I looked and I was like, "Oh my gosh, did we really hit an hour and a half?" That was fantastic. So, all right. Let's take a look here. We got Mario. Can you look at FEQT? Yes, I can. Let's boop-a-doo-doo-doo. Whoops. Let's get over to this screen. All right. All right. FEQT sounds like they're an all equity, but let's see here. All in one equity. Yeah, exactly. All right. FEQT. Let's take a look. I can tell you right now, I'm going to like it. I do like all equity stocks, but well, let's take a look and see what we got here. All right. This to me, this is kind of the sign of that they don't have a great amount of volume yet. But yeah, look at this volume 691. Okay. Take a look at their 3 years. So they haven't been around that long, but they have been moving in the right direction. I certainly do like that. So let's see here. Yeah, so basically, yeah, it's basically the same idea that they are investing in other Fidelity ETFs so that they can gain that sort of diversified portfolio, all equity feel right across the board. What are they given here? Do they have a? They don't. Okay, they don't have a distribution. Just give me a second. We'll pull up the key data here and take a look. Well, that's interesting. I'm seeing that they have, it looks like they have at some point paid out dividends. So I'm not sure what the story is on that, Mario, but that's interesting. All right. Now, let's take a look. Now, I did notice something else too. I'm going to check something out. There were kind of a couple more. Let's actually go here to, let's try this one. Because sometimes when they have these multiple listings, you can get, this is looking a little more healthy. This one's looking a little more healthy. Okay, here we go. Yeah, look, here's the volume. Here's the, so they were on the OMG, so I was on the wrong one. That looks a lot better. I'm still not seeing a dividend, but I do like the growth I am seeing on this ETF. And once again, I think it's the same idea here. Yeah, exact same idea. And let's go in here. And it's the exact same thing in here, but it's actually giving me the better picture. So I think I like them. Definitely for growth. And I think when you're looking, one of the nice things about all equity is that you're gaining a lot of international exposure with it as well, because they're not going to usually stick to just Canada and the United States. You're going to get a little bit of other things, and a lot of times you'll also get some exposure to emerging markets, which is nice. Okay, and yeah, and as GIDs, I don't know what the MER is or how the MER structure is, but a lot of times when it does come to that management expense ratio, and you're dealing with a situation where they're got ETFs on top of ETFs, it doesn't always add up to the point where they add up the fees on every ETF and pass that all on. So sometimes they will work it out, like it might be percentage type thing. So it normally works out fairly normal, but it's one of these things like what they can do. And well, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't have that information here, but all you have to do really is just go to Google. All right. Let's see. FEQT ETF. There's what we're looking for. Well, that's Vanguard's VEQT. They've got some pretty good SEO, because look at this. They're kind of dominating this. Where the heck is the Fidelity one? Well, oh, never mind. That was my fault. Funny. I actually put in I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did. Yeah, this is what I want. Sometimes in the sponsor, the actual answer is there. So we're just going to the Fidelity site. All right, and here we go. FEQT. Where is you? Where is you, FEQT? Let's search. All right, FEQT. Come on. There we are. That's what we're looking for. All right, here we go. Perfect. So this is giving us a little bit more information. So we have our NAV. End investment. All right, net assets, management fee, nothing. But this is actually not that shabby. Look at that, 0.43% management exchange ratio. But we got this thing here. Let's see here. I always, when they give you a little thing with some extra information, always look at it, because sometimes there can be something in there that, like a hidden cost or something like that in some cases. Total expenses. Okay, so that's standard. There doesn't appear to be anything crazy in there. So it actually doesn't look to be that bad. It doesn't look to be that bad. Now, what they do is sometimes in this case here is like this management expense ratio is probably coming from the ETFs that it has. It's other Fidelity ETFs. And the fact that they're not really doing any management in this one per se, most of the management is in all of the other ETFs. So they can throw a management fee of nothing on this because they're just pretty much rubber stamping these other ones in here. And then they'll pass on 0.43%. And that's probably, it's not going to be. And here's the thing, the way they do it is because let's say you had, let's say every single one of the other ETFs, I don't know how many they have in here, but let's say they had 5 and they all had 0.43. Well, what they do when they pass on those fees, they don't go, oh, well, 0.43 times 5, because you're not getting a full of each of them. You're getting a fifth. So they will normally take about a fifth of the management fee of each of these and pass them on that way. So that way there you end up with a 0.43 if all 5 of the ones in it had a 0.43. Now, let's see here. Normally we got, let's see, investor education. I'm not worried about that. I was just looking for their actual, let's see, standard returns, risk measures, underlying funds, allocation, sector mix. So look at this, guys. Those of you who don't visit these when you're looking at ETFs, this is fantastic. So with this here, because it's all equity, right? I mentioned they have like international. So in this case here, you've got 48.9% in the US, 23% in Canada, 6.4% in Japan, 4.2% in the United Kingdom, and then multinational 3.7%. That's where any emerging markets are going to fall under there. And then you got France and Germany in there. So it gives you a general idea. And it also gives you a general idea of the sectors and things like that. So there's a lot of information when you're dealing with ETFs. I would recommend, quite literally, let's say you have 5 ETFs that you like. Take the pages, bookmark them. Maybe create a folder on your bookmarks bar and have the page for each ETF that you're into. Because then you can go in, because sometimes the managers might make a change. And if your ETF isn't performing the way it used to, you might want to go in and take a gander at it and see, okay, have they actually changed anything? Do they still have the same holdings? So just a few little things that you can do. All right, let's pull that back up. And let's see here. Maybe your lawn pays a yearly dividend. I know. I found the $10 once. It's like, seriously. It's like I almost feel like I should just hire somebody to walk by my lawn once a month and drop $10 just to make me feel better. But that would be really vain. So I'm not going to do that. Oh, I got rid of this and I was like, let's go over to Discord here for a moment and we'll pull this up. All right. Oh, this is the announcement. So let's go over to the schedule. And as usual, I have not updated it. I am such a slacker here. All right. Where is my edit thing here? There's an edit channel, but where am I still in an edit? I might still be in an edit. Let's see if I can get rid of the bank review. Oh, I'm still in an edit. There we go. There we go. So this is all fantastic. So as usual, we have, of course, this week coming out on Sunday. But coming up this week, a lot of people have been asking for this RESP. We're going to look at the RESP on, I guess, I say Monday. Channel members can see it Monday, Tuesday for everybody else. And on Thursday night, we get the channel member live stream. I just sent out a message on the community tab for the channel members to let me know what you guys want to see. And I always say this, don't throw things and then like do a deep dive on this, because 1, it's not a video, it's a live stream. 2, this is your opportunity to get me to do stuff that it's just not conducive to a video or or anything. Just think outside the box. Any a few times you guys have surprised me, like when I when you guys made me do a reaction video. That was terrible. That was probably the worst video. Like, if you're a new channel member, don't watch the reaction video. It sucks. I had one person comment on it. Oh, there's 20 minutes I'm never getting back. Yep. That's how I feel about it too. The one though that I thought was a lot of fun is we did one time. They got me to do a tier list or a tier rating of our stocks of the Canadian stocks, and that one was a lot of fun. So get me to do something fun. Anyway, that's coming up, and yeah, and you know what? I want more of you to be able to see that. So here, I'm gonna go big screen so that you guys don't have to look at the infinity. But here we are. All right, let's go. Let's go right now. One more of you is going to get to be able to check out that live stream. And that person is hurry up. There we go. It's popped up. 9. 9 already have won on another one of their accounts. So you can watch it in stereo now. Okay, that feels bad. Let's do one more. It's not that it feels bad. Like, 9 is I love 9. 9 is awesome. It feels bad only that I want somebody who's never had one before. So let's try this one more time. Bang. Boom. We'll see who does it. All right. There we go. It's processing. We'll see here in a second. All right, here it comes, and the winner is Sandra B. There we go. Woohoo! So Sandra B has won a Mountain Finance membership for a month. So awesome sauce. All right, Mary says, do you ever look at mutual funds? Not very often. Not very. Now, I know that some people are a fan of mutual funds. But I've never been a big fan. I just it's the whole not being able to sell it when I sense something coming, because I have to wait till because you only have that one opportunity a day. So there's a lot of pros and cons. And I think I pretty much summed it up in that recent video that I did on basically ETFs versus mutual funds. So I haven't really looked at mutual funds per se. Not to say, if the channel members make me look at a mutual fund, then I'll have to look at a mutual fund for sure. But no, I haven't really looked at mutual funds. GID, mutual funds are usually ETFs with a middleman. To a certain extent. They also have a lot more restrictions. One of the other issues, and I don't want to paint all mutual funds the same, but a lot of mutual funds have time restriction on it. So, for example, if you sign in or you buy the mutual fund and then you decide that it's not for you and you try to sell it, there can be some penalties if you sell it before whatever the arranged time frame is on it. So there's a lot of things about mutual funds that I'm not crazy about. And Al says, I did the math just now. The break-even point for doing Norbit's Gambit between National Bank and Questrade is 40,000. Holy banana bread. So if you wanted to invest more than 40K into US stocks, National Bank would be cheaper. Okay. That makes sense. Al Bundy says, Mary, I have done MF for years. It is a ripoff, to be honest. So mutual funds. Yeah, it's one of those things like, I don't want to influence you. I just want to say there's kind of my opinion, but definitely do your due diligence on it. Don't rush into something like mutual funds without being sure you know what you're getting into. And also with the whole middleman thing, if you're buying a mutual fund from your bank, you got to remember they're going to sugarcoat that really well, because a lot of times they're selling you their mutual funds. So take all of that into consideration before you decide one way or the other. Larry says, I think WSB is targeting Grinder next. So WSB, Wall Street Bets, by the way, guys. Grinder. So bought a decent amount of calls. Trade volume is double than usual. We'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks. Huh. Grinder sounds like the type of company, though, that they would get into. So you could be onto something, Larry. You could be onto something. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, guys. With that being said, we're at the end of the show. This has been another good one. You guys are just absolutely awesome. So I will see you guys back here on Sunday. We'll have a lot of fun. I got a lot of great stories. Until then, take care. We'll have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Bye.